Hello everyone and welcome to my channel again. In this tutorial I will show you how to make the Summer of Love dress. I hope you will enjoy this tutorial and you will try to make this wonderful dress. But first let's talk a bit about the construction. We will start with the top part, first the back panel and then the front panel, continuing the back panel on the shoulders. And we will work the back panel for a few rows and then we will increase to get to the bust width that we need. So first, in case you are working with a different type of yarn or you have another tension, you will just have to measure your width between your shoulders and calculate the number of stitches that you'll need, and then see the needed stitches for your bust width and then calculate with how many stitches you will have to increase. The front panel, it's similar, only that we will work the first rounds only on the shoulders on a few stitches, and then we will continue to repeat the same pattern as for the back panel. So just to create the neckline a little bit lower so it will be comfortable when wearing. And after completing these two front and back panels, we will join them at the armpit, and then we will start to work in rounds until we will complete the desired length. If you need, you can add armpit stitches in case you will need to add a bit of more width to your bust. Now this is the yarn that I'm using. This dress is made with leftover yarn, and all the yarn here is fingering weight cotton, and I will use a G size crochet hook or a 4mm crochet hook. What we are making now is the top version of this dress, is the same pattern out to the same pattern, only that I'm using less color than on the dress. On the dress I used 8 different colors, but of course that you can use as many colors as you will want. So first we will start with the chain. You will need a multiple of 3 plus 1 stitches, so I will chain 49, as this is the width that I will need to get to my crossback width. The size I'm working on now is size small, just for you to know, and this is the size that I'm wearing in the photos. So now we will chain 2, and this chain 2 doesn't count as first double crochet, and then starting with the third stitch we will do 1 double crochet into each stitch to the end of the row. After finishing the first row, we will chain 2 to rise our work, and we will do 2 rows more into this color using the same color and the same stitch pattern. So we will have in total 3 rows in this dark gray, and then we will change with the second color that we will want to use, and for the 4th row we will change also the stitch pattern. So now we will change with the second color, and we're starting our 4th row, which will be in Paris stitch. We will start the chain 2, and then we will turn, make 1 double crochet into the first 2 stitches, so 1, I just started with a Paris stitch, but don't worry, I'm getting back. Okay, so because I only did 1 double crochet into the first stitch, and we will have to do 2, and then skip the next stitch and into the next one make 2 double crochet, then chain 2 and a single crochet into the same stitch. Now skip the next 2 stitches and repeat 2 double crochet, chain 2 and another single crochet into the same stitch, and we will repeat until we will have 3 stitches left. So 2, chain 2, 1 single crochet. Okay, I have just 3 stitches left. I will skip the next one and finish the row with 1 double crochet into the last 2 stitches. Now we will turn sorry, with the chain 2 and then 1 double crochet into the first 2 stitches, and then we will start to work the just into the chain 2 spaces, making in each chain 2, 2 double crochet, chain 2 and 1 single crochet. So in each chain 2 that we have from the previous row, we will work 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet. After finish this 5th row, we will change the color with the 3rd color that we want to use. Okay, and we will work a row in double crochet, but we will work the double crochet stitches only on top of each double crochet or single crochet stitch, so we're skipping the chain 2 on the previous rows. Yes, I'm skipping the chain 2, then I will work a double crochet stitch only into the single crochet or double crochet stitches, and at the end of this row you will have the same number of stitches as you start with, and then you will continue in the same color with 2 more rows in double crochet. So 2 more rows to have 3 in this teal color, and now we will change the color again into the on the dress I think it's the brown, but now I'm using for the top dark beige or taupe, and we will work another 4 rows also in double crochet. So nothing special in here, is nothing is changing, only the color. So you'll have to change into the 4th color that you will want to use and work 4 rows, 4 more rows into this color. So this is the color that I'm using as the 4th color for the top, and I will work 4 more rows in double crochet. Okay, I finished the 4th rows, and now you will have to change into the 5th color, and you'll have to repeat rows number 4 and 5. So the peri-stitch row, I will use light blue color this time, and you will have to repeat round 4 and 5. So the peri-stitch which we worked it here, and then after completing 2 rows in blue, you'll have to change with I think 6th color, which I have here pink, and now we will have to change again the color with the 1st color that we use, or 7th color if you want, and we will start increasing. So I'm using dark gray, so these were the first 16 stitches, 16 rows that we did without increasing, and now we will start to increase for the next rows with one stitch at the beginning and one stitch at the end of the row. Will be in total 7 rows in double crochet with increases at the beginning and at the end of the row, just by making instead of one single stitch into the first stitch, you will have to do 2 stitches, and also into the last stitch, instead of one stitch, you will do 2 stitches. So we will increase with 2 stitches per row for the next 7 rows. These 7 rows will be 4 into this dark gray, and after 4 rows you will have to change the color again. I have a written pattern, and also you can find a lot of useful information on my website. I will add the link into the description below, including the color stitch pattern that I used, but of course that you can use any colors and change the colors as you wish to make it as colorful or as less colorful as you want. So now we will increase at the end of the row, and I will turn and I will repeat this row 3 more times into the dark gray, and then I will change the color and I will repeat it 3 more times into, you'll see right away, a cream color that I choose for the next color to be used in this pattern. So I think I used also 8 colors for the top as well, but they are slightly different from the dress because I didn't had any from some colors. I didn't have some yarn left to use it for the tutorial, and I think the colors that I use for the top are working pretty nice together as well. So now we will just continue and repeating until we will finish with the armhole depth, and basically with the with the back top panel we will finish this with this increasing rows. Now, as I said, this is the color that I will use for the last 3 rows. So we will do 4 rows into dark gray and 3 rows into this cream color. So this is the back panel. We just finished the back panel. And I will cut the yarn from this cream because I will need it to use it for my front panel. And we will start with the front panel with the shoulders. Depending on how wide you want to be your neckline, you can choose how many stitches to work for the first few rows for the shoulders. I just chose 8 stitches. So I will start with my left shoulder and I will join the yarn into the 8th stitch, chain 2, and then double crochet into these 8 stitches, and I will work one more row into this side, and then I will move to the other side and work the other shoulder. Okay, so I will have one more row to go. Working just these 8 stitches. And now I will cut the yarn here. And don't forget to turn, so this second row to be on the wrong side when you're starting to work on the right shoulder. And we will rejoin yarn into the first stitch, chain 2, and work a double crochet stitch just into the first 8 stitches, or the same number of stitches that you worked on the left shoulder. Okay, now I will turn and work the second row. And I will chain 2 and turn, and I will start a third row, but now I will have to connect both shoulders with a chain. So work the first 8 stitches, and you will have to chain down the number of stitches that you have left. So I have 16 stitches in total for shoulders, so I started with 49, so I will chain now 33 stitches to get to the same number of stitches as the back panel. After chaining 33, I'm going into the first stitch of the left shoulder and work the last 8 double crochet stitches. And these were basically the first 3 rows that we did on the back panel into the gray color. So onto the next row we will have to change the color with that mint green. And now we will repeat the same pattern as for the back panel. So starting with the row 4, we will need to work the peri stitch. So we will start with chain 2, turn, work first 2 double crochet stitches, then skip 1 and into the next stitch 2 double crochet, chain 2 and 1 single crochet, skip 2 stitches, 2 double crochet, chain 2 and 1 single crochet, and continue with skip 2, 2 double crochet, 2 chain stitches and 1 single crochet until you'll get to the end of the row. Remember that at the end of the row you need to have left 3 stitches, and you'll need to skip 1 and work 1 double crochet into the last 2 stitches. Okay, I finished this row, and now basically we will have to repeat from the same pattern as for the back panel, including the increases and the armhole, so everything is the same. And then we will meet again to just join both pieces and to start working on our dress into the rounds. So now to join, I am on the front panel now where I finished the last row, and I will turn with 2 chains, and I will work one double crochet into each stitch until I will get to the last stitch of my front panel. Into the last stitch we will do one double crochet, but we will keep 2 stitches on the hook because we want to work this one together with the first stitch of the back panel, so to make the join. And I will show you 2 methods to do that. So just make 2 double crochet together into the last and stitch of the front panel and the last stitch of the back panel. But see here that we are basically making the armhole depth even bigger with one row. So another method is to take off your hook from the loop and then insert the hook into the bottom of the last stitch and into the first stitch of the back panel. Then take those 2 loops again and the third. Make 1 chain into the first one and then yarn over and pull it through all 3. And in this way you don't make the armhole bigger and you have a nice double crochet stitch here. So let's do it once again. So I'm insert the hook into the bottom of the stitch, into the first stitch of the back panel, pulling out a loop through both like a slip stitch. Sorry, I got the end of the yarn here. Now I'm taking the 2 loops, the third, yarn over, pull it through the first, yarn over and pull it through all 3. And now we will continue with 1 double crochet into each of the next stitches up to the end of the row. And at the end of the row we will have to join again with the front panel. Now we are working the back panel stitches and we will have to join it with the front panel at the end. Okay, so I will keep working the double crochet stitches up to the end of the row. And then at the end of the row I will show you another method to make the join. I don't know if it's a better one or you can just do the 2 double crochet together or just slipping the last and first stitch, but this one is not looking as pretty as the previous one. But yeah, so we're doing again a double crochet but keeping 2 loops and then going into the bottom of the stitch, the first stitch, and pulling out a loop. Now into the top of the stitch and yarn over and pull it through all the stitches, or you can make the first we don't need to just rise the stitch as we did before with pulling through the first stitch. We just need to join. The idea is that the armhole is is not getting bigger with with the high of one row, which is a good thing. Now we will have to change the color again. I'm using a light gray this time, and I think it's the first time using it since we started to work on this pattern. And the next row after joining will be a pairy stitch row, and you will see that we won't have a multiple of 3 stitches as we need for this stitch. I think we will have with 1 in plus, but we will arrange that and adjust that on this row. With this stitch will be a bit weird, this stitch that we did at the end, so you have to pay attention which is actually that stitch. So we will chain 3, and into the first stitch, right, the first stitch, we will do 1 more double crochet. Yeah, so we have to look at the previous stitches, the one before and after, and this will give you the idea where is the stitch, that last stitch. So now we will chain 2, 1 single crochet into the same stitch, and this is the first motif of the pairy stitch. And now we will need to skip 2 stitches, which are this one, and continue with 2 double crochet, chain 2, and a single crochet into the same stitch, then skip 2 stitches, 2 double crochet, chain 2, and 1 single crochet. Again 2 double crochet, and we will repeat to the end of this round to complete a round with this pairy stitch. At the end of the round, as I told you, we will have instead of 2 stitches we have 3, but it's no issue. We will just keep all 3 and join with a slip stitch into the 3rd chain. And now we will need to turn our work. I will keep turning the work even if I work in rounds, because I found it more likely to have the same look of the stitch pattern as before. So we will have to start this round from the chain 2 space. So I'm getting there with 2 slip stitches, and then we will chain 3, counting as first double crochet, then another double crochet, then chain 2 and 1 single crochet into the same 2 chain space. And we will work the stitches only into the 2 chain spaces, which is nothing new as we worked the stitch before, only that we are working it now in rounds, but it's the same. And then we will change with this dark gray, and we will work 2 rows again, working the same pairy stitch. And after finishing the gray dark gray rows, we basically have to repeat from the mint color all the pattern, changing the colors in the same way and having the same stitch pattern as before. We will repeat it until we will complete the length, the desired length. And of course, if you want to have it in a top, you can repeat the number of rows to make it shorter. From now on, you are just you can just play with the length that you wish for your dress or your top or your, I don't know, hips length top, however you want, or crop top. You can do a lot of different length for it, considering that is a top down. Now I will work the next 2 rows in pairy stitch using this dark gray color, and then we will just have to repeat from the mint color. So from the, I think it was the 4th row, to repeat the same color and stitch pattern. Now I don't think it's you need any help from now on, because you just have to repeat the rounds until you get to the desired length. But I will show you the how to make the border or the edge for the armhole depth. I would just wave in all the ends here, and we will start using for this edge the single crochet stitch in the round and the dark gray color and the smaller crochet hook. So I'm using 3.5 for each hook size, and we will have to start our row from the joint that we have at the shoulders. And of course that you have to think which side you will want to be your right side, because we will work this edge only on the right side. So I'm starting on the joining at the shoulders here, and we're using a smaller crochet hook because I like to work the stitches right into the side row stitches and not into the spaces, because so to make the stitches around the last stitch or the last chain, because it's not looking that pretty. So I'm trying to insert the hook right into the stitch, and we will work 2 single crochet on each side row stitch, or depending if you think that depending on your tension, if you think that you might need to work 3 single crochet, that you can do so. I'm trying to work as many stitches as I need to keep the distance between the single crochet as like in a normal row. And we will work up to the armpit, but at the armpit we will do a decrease, and we will do that decrease with each round of this edge, just to make sure that at the armpit the border, the edge will have a nice valley and it won't be with too many stitches. So I'm just looking at how the stitches are laying down at the armpit, and I'm choosing 3 stitches from here, and I will work these 3 stitches together, like 3 single crochet together, and then I will continue with 1 single crochet to the end of the row. And we will repeat this row 3 times, or depending how thick you want this edge to be. I just made 3 rounds, and of course you can do just this first round in single crochet, just to um, put your stitches there, and then you can follow another stitch pattern for this edge if you want. So now I will just continue to work the stitches up to the end of the row, and then I will close the row with a slip stitch into the first single crochet. And now everything it will be easier, because we're just working into the previous single crochet stitches. So we're doing just 1 single crochet into each stitch. We'll pay attention to stop with the stitch before the previous row decrease, because we will need to make a decrease again there. So here in these 3 stitches, so I have to undo the last one. So we're working 3 stitches together, 1 before the decrease, 1 into the decrease, and one stitch after the decrease, and then continue with 1 single crochet into each stitch. And this was with the edging. I used the same 3 single crochet row for the bottom edge, so you will have to repeat the same with the other armhole. Of course, first I recommend to wave in all the ends and then to make this edge, because it will look nicer. And of course you will have to continue with the length, repeating those rows from row 4 up to row 23 on as many times as you wish until you'll get to the desired length. And this was it with this tutorial. I hope you enjoy it and see you next time.